He's
Guys, I don't
dead.
want to interrupt, but they're calling New York the mayor's race, and they're calling it for Mondami. Also, New Jersey's been called for the Democrat candidate for governor. So this is I'm watching this. Has won New York City's mayoral race, cementing the Democrats' socialist meteoric rise in the epicenter of global capitalism and making him the first Muslim to lead America's most populous city. 34-year-old defeated Republican candidate Curtis Sweela, independent candidate Andrew Cuomo, landing a blow to Cuomo's decades-long career in New York politics.
Whoa.
And also
Thank you
in
for
New
that.
Jersey, the New Jersey retains a Democratic stronghold, and as we mentioned, Spanberger will serve as Virginia's first female governor, and all they're waiting now is for what happens in California.
Well, what Peter, you made an interesting statement I'd like for you to underscore. You said in the heart of the center of capitalism, this is substantial.
Yes, it's huge.
This is huge.
It's bigger than I think the Republicans are going to want to speak to, and they're going to blow it off, and don't.
What are you seeing nationally, Leanne?
Here's what I'm saying. It's a lot of anti-Trump sentiment. He jumps out, endorses these candidates, and they're losing. But what it feels like, and maybe Peter can speak more to this, I am firmly in the camp that if things don't look the way Donnie wants them to look, then we can look for interference in the midterm. And so right now, I'm feeling like that's what we can anticipate is some kind of interference in the midterm. He deployed Guard troops to voting poll places, California specifically. I mean, that energy is already there. But the electorate is saying hell no to anything that this guy is supporting, and any candidate that's been endorsed by him looks like they're in tough waters right now. So
wow.
With that, I'm complete.
Peter,
I'm excited for it.
Peter, what are you seeing? What are your thoughts, Peter Boyles?
Good evening, guys. I mean, there's a phrase in the Muslim world, and they say the dogs bark, but the caravan passes by. And I think it applies to tonight. I think Leanne's absolutely right. This is not a good night for Trumpism or Donald Trump. We've seen a Muslim woman win a statewide office in Virginia. We have seen Virginia elect a Democrat and first woman governor. New Jersey doesn't bode well. New York, I think, is going to be a showdown, but I think you'll see this man who projects himself as a socialist pull it out. These are harbingers of what is to come. And I think putting troops in front of polling places hurts Donald Trump. It doesn't help him. People are rejecting Donald Trump, and his approval rating's down somewhere around 37%. It was 4 years ago. You wanted Donald Trump to come to town and endorse you. Today, I'm not so sure you want Donald Trump to come to town and endorse you. We're in free form, Jeffrey. We really are. And, Colorado being Colorado, but I think again, the real showdown is in Aurora. But the rest of it, and New York is now seeing the highest voter turnout in 30 years tonight. I mean, New York City, rather. Mm-hmm. And that has meaning. Big turnout means principally that the Democrats will pull this out. So the redistricting fight in California is something to keep an eye on. That will be an interesting case. But
what is the redistricting part about? Talk a little bit about the redistricting in California.
Yeah, they want to define California's rather congressional districts, and they want to edge them to the Democrats. And it's a blockbuster redistricting campaign that's been 90 days long, and it's taking a battle that will dominate the state's pending election. And if the Democrats redistrict, they will have more strength. If it stays the same, California, the dancing bear is a really interesting series of who's in charge. And right now, remember, Gavin Newsom and the proponents, it's called Proposition 50, and they're leaning on all these famous Democrats to come campaigning, but it's a heavy dose of the governor himself. So we'll see where Newsom looks, because Newsom, I think at this point, and I don't know if you and Leanne agree or T agrees, that he's the front runner for the Democrats in 2 more years or 2.5 more years, and that's big stuff. I mean, who gets the nod? So this is a showdown night. Don't drive by it. I mean, this has a lot of meaning.
Big T, what are you looking at?
I need to add something.
Please.
I think the context here is that Prop 50 California is in response to redistricting efforts in red states across the union. So Texas,
Absolutely.
Arizona. So this wasn't an initiative that California said, hey, guess what, let's do? Let's just run off and do. This was in response. And so if you recall, it didn't get a lot of legs in Colorado, but there was even some folks saying we probably ought to consider that in Colorado as well. So this was in response to redistricting efforts in red states and the South, to be clear, across the southern seaboard, to at least discussions. Texas moved on it to ensure a Republican leader, despite what happens at the polls. And so with that, I'm complete. Just wanted to
The
add that.
old-fashioned term in the age of the smoke-filled room, this is called gerrymandering or gerrymandering. And regardless, in my world, regardless of who does it, it's what it is. And it will probably pass in California because that's what the polling suggests, but it's still what it is. Yeah,
Wow.
I agree.
Big T, what are you seeing? What are your thoughts on the national landscape? What are you paying attention to?
Well, looking at these numbers out of New York, Mondami's up 51% to Cuomo 40%. Silva's not even in the running of that. He's at 8%.
Okay.
So New York it's looking like it's early on, but it's looking like Mondami's is looking really good.
Well, what do you all think about? I know that President Trump encouraged folks to go ahead and vote for Cuomo. Is that
Yeah, he tanked him.
And Cuomo was trying to run from that. He was. I never seen somebody with some track shoes running so fast in my life. He was like, he didn't. No. Like, is the Trump brand hurting? We've also got to talk about, I believe Obama, he was stumping.
Yeah, he was stumping in Virginia.
And Trump was not stumping too hard in Virginia. What are your thoughts?
He wouldn't stump for Winsome Earl Sears. He hasn't even acknowledged her by name. She's the Republican.
But he was stumping.
He doesn't even exist.
He was stumping, but not stumping.
It was horrible.
How is that working, the great Leanne Wheeler? Like, how does that even work or not?
Listen, you know what makes me sad about the governor of the United States? You know how I felt about him during COVID, right? I think everybody knew. I loved his briefings. It felt like someone was in charge. It was telling us something, anything, and it was coherent, cogent, informative, learned a lot, and then, got caught up in the shenanigans that he that he got caught up in, right? Allegations of sexual harassment and all the things. And so, where I would have thought dignity would have dictated for that he take a seat and stay there, he saw fit to run for mayor. I felt like, so when Donnie endorsed him, I thought, does he mean for Mondami to win? Is there some other reason for him to come out the day before, I guess, the election and officially endorse? I know it did not help Andrew Cuomo, and I'm surprised that he did it. But it seemed that maybe that's why it's closer than I would have thought. I don't know. Who knows? We'll see. But I was certainly sad to see Cuomo running for mayor. And when the Democrats in New York City said, "We want this guy. We want Mamdani." On that Democrat primary, and then he hopped over. I don't know. I was going to ask Peter about this. Then he hopped over did he run as an independent or as a
He,
Republican?
he ran as an independent.
As an independent candidate. Now, the people had already spoken. They'd already given him their answer. We, as the Democrats, this is who we want. And then he hopped over and ran as an independent. And I thought, why? What had he hoped to gain by doing that? But I do think it's interesting that Trump endorsed the independent and not the Republican in the mayoral race.
Wow, Peter, what are you seeing in this, Peter? What are your thoughts?
You guys remember when it happened here? The Republican Party ran a character named Dan Mays. And remember that, Leon? And the wheels came off of Mays when it proved that, he just, let's be kind, he wasn't telling the truth. And here's John Hickenlooper, the Democratic pick. The Republican Party rides Dan Mays down. Out of the clear blue of the western sky comes Tom Tancredo on the Constitutional Party. He almost puts the Republican Party out of service, and Hickenlooper wins. But if Mays would have dropped out, then it looks like Tom would have had a shot. The same thing is true now. They're all on Curtis Sweela, and I did a show with Curtis Sweela, and it was an interesting go-around for me. But Curtis Sweela is holding, I think, 15-16% of the votes, T? Want to check that? And if he threw his weight to Como would have it. He won't do it. I mean,
no, ego.
And he always claimed John Gotti Jr. had him shot, all this kind of stuff. And why not, right? But
right, 5 times. He was shot 5 times.
In the back of a cab.
That's right. I mean, we all heard that story. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Yeah.
And but they started, the cops hated the Guardian Angels. They're not fond of them in Denver when they show up. So he's a get out,
Spoiler.
dude, if you feel that way. But just like Dan Mays wouldn't do it, and then he wrote a book and he condemned me in his books. I went, okay, well, you're not the first.
What do you all think?
Say again, sir?
What do you all think about the fact that there's this energy around young people turning out and folks that are excited about the, what they call democratic socialism? What does that mean in these, off-season elections? And is there more energy because we're also hearing that AOC might be throwing her hat in the ring as a presidential candidate as well? What are your thoughts, Big T?
Well, the young folks is the key. Right? New voters is also the key, right? Turning out new voters is the key to these elections. And as far as AOC goes, I'm kind of up in the air on AOC. However, that's why she's been riding the Bernie train. They've been having this whole thing, this whole season.
Kind of like a passing of the guard?
Exactly. Exactly, and that's because, and that's what I believe, and as they've been moving that way, you can see her positioning herself in such a space.
What are your thoughts, Peter, and also Leanne, in terms of democratic socialism? What does that mean, and why is it, or how is it galvanizing new voters that are perhaps pretty tired of the same old, same old?
Well, T and I probably remember George McGovern. And McGovern was a very decent man. I got to meet him later in life. He ran against Richard Nixon, and that was game over. And would you rather, as George McGovern said to me, I'd rather be George McGovern, the loser, than Richard Nixon, the winner. We've danced with this kind of left-wing stuff, but this guy is dynamic. I've seen him be interviewed. I've seen him do Q's and A's. You see him take on 50 Cent. Did you see that when he takes on 50 Cent? 50 wants him, pays him off to leave town and buys him an airplane ticket. And he makes a fool of 50, So he knows what he's doing. He tracks young people who are, I remember voting for George McGovern because I just was so tired of these other people. And maybe that explains a lot of Obama. I don't know, but certainly young people. Barack Obama was the first guy to really successfully use the internet. I don't know. I think they're breaches. They're moments that Will it come and stay, or will it come and go?
Wow. The great Leanne Wheeler, what are your thoughts as an unaffiliated voter? What are you seeing?
I tell you, I hope it comes to stay. Now, you know, I'm not a platform gal. I don't do partisan politics at all. I find it all very annoying. What I believe is that, or as it occurs for me, I was in Massachusetts for a work project when Barack Obama was running for president in 2008. And full disclosure, at that time, on the Republican primary ticket, I voted for John McCain. By the time I left Massachusetts, I was canvassing for Barack Obama. And so what I was seeing at that time was he had a way of making you feel on an individual belly button basis the role you played in this movement. He was brilliant at it. And this is the same thing that is happening with Mamdani, except there's a little more, what I expect young people now want to see, a little pop sizzle, a little TikTok, a little reality TV. I mean, so he has managed to take the internet. It's like the first to ever do it on the internet was Barack Obama. This candidate is taking all of the platforms. He's figured out a way with these young folks volunteering. I don't think he's paying everybody that's doing the work for him. They would gladly do it for free, and they're shooting short vignettes. He's showing up speaking Spanish in places. He's eating all the food. What are your favorite? You know, going very. We all remember David Letterman and the top 10 list.
Yeah.
And so much of what I'm seeing in his campaign style reminds me of some of the shtick that David Letterman used to do. Go out to the street, talk to the common person, do that kind of thing. And what I think once they do the post-mortem on this election is that they're going to find that this uptick in voter turnout is going to look like your 18 to 34-year-olds. It's going to be, that is who is moving this along, I believe, in New York City. And as this catches hold, and I believe that it will, across the nation, these young folks, people my nieces and nephews' ages, and certainly maybe some of your kids and grandkids' ages, are excited about this guy and what it could mean. So I lean away from the democratic socialist and blah, 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 and this and that, because all of that speaks to partisanship. These folks see their place in the movement that this man is leading. And that is going to make all the difference. And hand to God, I hope it sticks. I hope that it sticks. And I haven't been excited about a candidate since Barack Obama in 2008.
Wow.
And so for me, it's having that kind of an effect. So, and I'm an old lady relative to these folks who are running this campaign in New York City.
Well,
I think it's a good thing.
That speaks volumes. And Big T, are we paying attention to Virginia? Is there anything to see there? And then also, who's playing the spoiler in all this? Because in all of these elections, there's always somebody who just, I don't know if they're paid to run as spoilers or they're just spoilers in their heart of hearts. And they always tip it in one way or the others. What are your thoughts about spoilers when you're looking at those things? And then also this battle, this showdown again between President Trump and Barack Obama over there in Virginia.
You know, spoiler first, I agree with Pete. Curtis is the spoiler. He's the spoiler. His numbers so far, he's at 7.9%. Andrew Cuomo's at 41.6%. If he was not in the race, it'd be neck and neck, him and Mamdani. So as much as things change, the more they stay the same, you know. But I believe he's the spoiler in the race, which is why he did not get out. As far as Virginia goes, that's all but a done deal. Abigail's the winner there.
You're going to go ahead and call that?
Yeah, call Abigail.
Well, I think that the national platforms have called that as well.
And they're very close. If they did not call, let me check real quick. There's a lieutenant governor race going on too. Let me see here in Pennsylvania.
Someone's getting smoked in Pennsylvania.
Yeah. No, that's
That's a proposition.
That's a proposition piece.
May I
That's
offer a
Supreme
question?
Court.
I've got a question
Yeah,
based
yeah.
on this logic about spoilers. Is there a certain presumption that had the spoiler not been in the race, that vote could go to one candidate or the other with any kind of assurance? Because I'm not sure I believe that.
What are your thoughts, Peter?
Well, two things. I want to come back to the first the first candidate really ignited my neighborhood growing up was Jack Kennedy. T remembers, I mean, he was the young man, came along. They had a series of, I don't want to say old men, but old men. And along comes this vibrant World War II vet. And most of the men in America at the time were World War II vets. And he promised a number of different things. And he fired everybody up. In my neighborhood as a kid growing up, Jack Kennedy was big news. There wasn't another one for a long time, but it was Jack Kennedy. And number two, you don't have to have a spoiler. And this character in New York who's holding back, as he just pointed out, I mean, that's an 8% of the vote is a bite. And if it switches, I don't think it would necessarily switch to a socialist as opposed to, but they'd look, one of the reasons nobody wants Como is because he's Como.
Right.
And you're right. I mean, for real. I mean, it's like, did you see him interviewed this afternoon when he was
It was a disaster.
This backhanded acceptance of Donald Trump? And I mean, both of their dads did business with the same guy. So, I mean, for real. So it kept Andrew out, was what he did, and Donald Trump's dad, Fred, he was doing business. And I don't know, guys. I mean, it's New York, and I think that's part of it as well. There's a large percentage of voters in New York that weren't born in this country. And that's really an interesting variable to look at as well. And what are they looking for? And they seem to be a bloc that's voting for the socialist candidate. I don't know. I mean, I suspect he's going to pull this out tonight. What I thought was one of the most interesting and positive events of the evening, the lieutenant governor of Virginia is a Muslim woman.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
I'm telling you.
That says something.
I'm telling you. The Jersey, now we got a woman governor out there. I think they just called that one. I don't have that screen.
Yeah, I got
And
Jersey.
So listen, these women, these women right now.
I mean, it's the first woman elected to make history and the first Muslim woman ever elected to the statewide office in the United States. Is there a theme tonight? Yes. Establishment people are getting dumped.
Yep.
That seems to be the theme. Be they whomever, the establishment is being rejected. And I think it speaks to the rise of the mayoral candidate, now mayor of New York. People are sick and tired. We have a thing, and T and I share this. When you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, you change. People only change in pain. Well, all the promises, everybody's promises have come to nothing. And people are, in general, and I think it explains the rise perhaps of Trumpism, but looking now, you almost see a failure of it. Now, the rise of yet another side of the political scale. And it's a fabulous night. It's a remarkable night to learn from.
Peter, what does it take to resonate with voters? I mean, beyond the bickering and the backfighting and all of that, it seemed to be successful, in past elections. But I think folks are really looking at this government being shut down and a whole bunch of other things that are guiding them to look for different leadership. What are you seeing, Peter, and what does it take to connect with voters today under these circumstances?
I think the book got thrown out the window tonight of how it was done. And Donald Trump offered this brave new world in politics, and the old guys were traditional. That got changed, but I got to tell you, I mean, I need to sit and think about what's going on here, but it truly is, at least what we're seeing in 2 states and a major city is a rebellion. I mean, that's really what it is. It's a rebellion because there was a Republican on both of those jobs, gone. There was God only know what you do with Mayor Adams in New York. I mean, that was a clown show. But here's this young man who is diametrically opposed to everything that these men in the past have talked about. Jeff, I can honestly say this is new cut road. I mean, these guys are, and if I'm the Republican Party in this country today, the GOP, I'm calling for a summit right away. The GOP in Colorado, they as you talked about the firing squad in a circle, I mean, these people are self-destructive, and you witness this. But what do you think? What do you think the top of the shop, the big money, the contributors to the GOP are saying to each other as we speak? What do you think they're saying? That's the question.
Man, Big T, what do you think they're saying? I'm talking about the big money, the shot callers, the individuals are like, what happened? What are they seeing in the trends? And do they course correct? Do they get it right before the midterms, or are you seeing a wave that's taking place?
Well, they're attached to the president. So I don't care what they do right now, unless they course correct him, they're stuck. And what you see, everybody he endorsed lost tonight. The New Jersey, he came out for Jack Citrelli, and he got smashed. Everybody he endorsed got smashed. And so on a national level, that's who they're hooked to. And as long as he's in and politics is fickle. Let's be honest. It's fickle. It's riding the wave of what's happening. You know?
Sandy said they're saying, man, y'all done wasted my money.
Yeah.
Wasted my money.
Well, they play both sides of the middle, so they don't really waste too much money. They really don't. And now it's a matter of how they're going to move. Like Pete said, they should have a convening. What are they going to do? Because obviously this train, the way it's running, is not going to be good.
Let me ask you.
They need to meet tonight.
I'm serious. They're on the phone.
Oh, well, let me send the question back your way, Pete, and the great Leanne Wheeler. There's the question about what does the Republican movers and shakers, the money, the deal makers, and all of that, what are they saying? What direction do they go in? What is Mayor Mike Kaufman experiencing tonight in terms of he's seeing the same thing at a local level that's happening at a national level?
Mike Kaufman doesn't strike me as a guy with a vision of himself outside of the Aurora mayor. He isn't the guy reaching out the ladder. The guys you watch and hear along the Front Range that have ideas about being the next governor, and they're Republicans, and it's a pipe dream. It's not there. They may hold 4 seats, Republican seats. They may hold 4, but they're not going to hold statewide office. They're not going to be in a senatorial catbird seat. It's not going to happen. And so, but the other states, and again, the movers and shakers of the party, Republican Party's deep state, if you would, the money people. What do you think they're thinking right now? What do you think they're making phone calls? You know that they make those calls. And what do you think somebody like Rupert Murdoch's doing? What do you think somebody like, the captains of industry that have funded this? They either want their money back, or they're saying, now, what are you going to do? How are you going to keep me in the game?
You know, what I've seen in the past, and just through the political process in terms of campaigning, is the money hangs in areas where they've got a chance to win or it's close.
Right.
But when it's a loss, they pull up and they relocate to places where they've got a better chance to be they got a better chance to get a better investment on their dollar. So when you're starting to say, hey, the money is not going to be doing well for the next 4 years here, we're going to go over here, wherever that over here may be.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think Space Command's being yanked out of Colorado?
Yeah.
Serious question.
Yeah,
What-
absolutely.
Well, one, we're going to take that economy and we're going to put it in another place that is more conducive to us winning, because politics is the ability to move and also control where resources go. And so, if you're going to tear down the White House, you got to do it right now and build a new
When the
wing.
Coast Guard, when Senator Byrd was the powerful member of the Senate, how did the Coast Guard's headquarters move to West Virginia? And how far is it to an ocean, for God's sake, Brother Jeff? But they went there.
Yes,
I mean, why is the Space Command leaving here? I don't know, going to Alabama? My parents raised all these ugly children, but not stupid ones. I mean, this is business as usual.
Yeah.
Well, look at this. Let's go to the Aurora School Board race, because they had 4 picks, and there was some circle firing taking place at the school board level. Who's doing what and how are they doing it according to the numbers in the last hour? And we will get a chance to see the 8 o'clock drops wherever they might be, and then we'll wrap up, because this is going to be a short night. but anyway, Big T, what's happening in Aurora Public School Board?
Top 4, Ann Kiki.
Okay.
She's leading pretty good. And then you have pretty much a dead heat between Kristen Mallory and Tremaine Duncan.
Okay.
So that's your first 3. And then you have Gayla kind of a dead heat between Gayla Sharir and Nino Pepper. They're in a dead heat. I'm sorry. Gayla Sharir would be the next one.
Okay, so we'll keep our eye on that. But Kristen Mallory, Westerberg, and Ann Kiki and Tremaine Duncan are definitely going to continue doing their thing in terms of these numbers.
Well, so far, yeah.
And you've got to remember, there's only a certain amount of runway left, because it's low voter turnout to begin with. I believe that these clerks and recorders, Peter, are going to have short nights because they don't have masses of ballots to be checking.
There's a great line in school board elections: teachers hire their bosses. No, seriously.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly
I'm a
right.
classroom teacher. My husband, my wife, my adult children, my brothers and sisters. It's like read Royko's book, Boss, about the Daily Machine in Chicago. When people voted for Dick Daley, they weren't voting for Dick Daley necessarily. They were voting for their brother-in-law to keep his job at the waterworks, or they were voting for their brother, the cop, or their brother, the firefighter. I mean, that's how machine politics work. And the teachers union knows that. And they elect their bosses almost every time.
Wow. Well, I'll tell you, it's 8 o'clock. I guess we're going to have us a short night. But I do want to go back to the Denver clerk and recorder's office and see if there's some 8 o'clock numbers that have dropped, see if there's some 8 o'clock numbers that dropped in Aurora. I think that Peter broke in and let everybody know that some of those races have been called, you know, in particularly in New York. They called it early in Virginia. Peter, give us a recap in terms of what's been called. What are your thoughts? What are you seeing?
I thought it was a remarkable night. It's called New Cut Road. We're someplace we haven't been before. The Democrats won those governor's races in New Jersey and Virginia. They called the mayoral run in New York, and it was the highest voter turnout in 30 years. And Jeffrey, that's significant. The Virginia race makes history with a Muslim woman elected to a statewide office. This is a bad night for the Republicans. It's a bad night for Donald Trump. It's a bad night for Trumpism. And you can bet that those phone calls are going on right now. And people want explanations, and they want, I gave you my money, and you can, but we've all been through it. I mean, you know, if you, what's the great line? If I hire the band, I get to tell the band what to play and when to play.
Yes.
And at the end of the night, I have to pay the band, but if I hire the band, I get to tell the band what to play. And That's why you got to keep money out of politics.
The one who pays the piper gets to call the tunes.
Every time.
Peter,
It fails.
Saturday you're on. How do we get in touch? When do we sign on? Because I know
7:10 KNUS, the morning show. You'll be with me. We'll know much more than we do right now, but there'll be smoke. There'll be smoke in the air about this. And I think what Leanne said tonight, what T said tonight, what you said tonight, what's being written. This is a turn the page moment. It really is.
The great Leanne Wheeler, final thoughts. It's a short night. No, it's a short night. Good work in terms of, those who worked hard ran, but there has been change. Your final thoughts, the great Leanne Wheeler.
My sincere hope, thank you. Thanks for having me. My sincere hope is that this level of energy just carries through, not just midterm, but from now on. I know we as a society have this propensity to, if we're not feeling the pinch, we tend to check out of all of these matters. And so I would like for that not to be the case. So that'd be my hope. But this was a referendum on Donald Trump's presidency. It's a referendum on the actions that his administration has taken against working class folks. It is a referendum on all of the tomfoolery that he has done up until now. And it is a referendum on, and no offense to Pete, he knows I love him, to older white men running everything in DC and everywhere else. And so these folks, the 1835 bracket, someone's going to do the dissection on that and let us know exactly who came out. We know 65 and older votes. We know Gen X votes. We were losing Gen Z, Gen Y, the millennial, and they have turned this election. This is their country now to run. They just have to take the steps necessary to lead it. And so that's what I'm left with. What I'm worried about, and Peter's right here, phone calls are happening right now. No one is sleeping tonight. The bag is not sleeping tonight. They are on the horn figuring out what they need to do. And so look out, keep your head on a swivel. I think there'll be more deployment of guards to polling places. I think there'll be more purging of voter files. I think we're looking now at sort of these less democratic republic and more authoritarian steps, in particular since the losses were so great and vast, and the firsts, which Pete called out. So celebrate tonight, but tomorrow wake up, hit the ground running, because there's still work to do between now and June primaries, and certainly the midterms on next year. Look for this administration to really wig out as a result of how things went tonight.